What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the second episode of Duel School, where if you guys watched the first one, you'll know that pretty much what we're going to be doing is analyzing the latest expansion, recommended booster section of the game right now, which, as you can see, there are some pretty great figures now in the game. We have Terekian and Kambalion as well to finish off the Swords of Justice Pokemon, since we got Virizion in the last expansion. And so again, what we're going to be doing is really analyzing the new Pokemon that are added to the game right now. And be on the lookout for the next episode coming up, because we're going to be doing a lot of pack openings for this. I'm really excited to open up some quad boosters, just to see what kind of luck we can get with pulling them. But anyway, without further ado, let's start off with Kambalion. I actually really like this Pokemon, mainly because its quick attack is 60, which I believe is twice as much damage as Sceptile's quick attack. So right off the bat, that is really cool. I'm going to be asking you guys your suggestions, your input on these Pokemon attacks as well, seeing what you guys think are viable. Right off the bat, though, I do love that even though it has two misses, they're both only size 4, which means that you can eliminate one of them by leveling this guy up all the way to 5. So that's a really good way to start off. But anyway, let's get down to its abilities, which is Ironheart, which I kind of dig, saying that this Pokemon and your Pokemon adjacent to this Pokemon are not knocked out by gold attacks from their battle opponents. So if you're facing down anything that's really big, like say a Zapdos with like at least a base damage 100 damage on its gold attack, that means you get to pretty much avoid that Thunder Crash altogether, which is really sick. And then also as its Sword of Justice attack, which does 101 damage, exactly like Virizion. I do believe that is the case. So this is a really cool Pokemon. My question to you guys, though, is do you think you should expand Sword of Justice to get a really big hit potentially, or should you expand the Gold attack, which gives you 60 damage, or do you think one of the two dodges, or maybe both dodges, should be looked into, I should say, as far as expanding how big their size can be? Because you have two size 12 dodges. That's pretty darn good if you're looking at the wheel right here. You have a pretty good amount of dodge already available to you. Do you feel like dodge should be invested in, or maybe something like quick attack? That's really going to be my question about all these Pokemon. Where do you guys think the experience should go to? Anyway, let's move on to Terekian, the other Sword of Justice Pokemon in this set. This one, instead of dodge, it has protect, which in my opinion isn't quite as good because it does gain weight, so it does slow down the Pokemon a little bit. But again, it's better to survive than not at all. But this Pokemon, it's kind of hard not to let it survive because, for instance, its ability Beatdown says that all blue attacks of battle opponents of this Pokemon become misses. So right off the bat, say if you're fighting a Mew, that shuttle flip, or a Crobat, that shuttle flip as well, completely negated and becomes a big old gigantic miss, especially because people like to invest a lot of their experience into attacks like blue attacks like shuttle flip in particular. So it's kind of maybe changed the meta a little bit. The Terekian's a 2-space mover. It can get around the field decently enough. So if you just face this off against people that are investing all their experience into blue attacks, you can kind of dominate them with Terekian right now. So it's kind of cool. But again, if you see here, Stone Edge 120 damage. You're not going to be losing battles with this guy very easily. It's pretty awesome. Unless, of course, you're facing off against a Genesect with some of the new plates that have been added to that guy to, like, make it super powerful. It makes me want to run, like, 6 Genesect in a deck. I don't think that's possible, but at least 3, that would be crazy. I'm kind of wondering if there are going to be new Genesect in the game. But anyway, let's move on here. But of course, yes, please let me know what you guys think of Terekian, where you think experience should go to with this guy. And then we have Noivern, a pretty interesting Pokemon in my opinion, as its ability Supersonic Speed. Saying that if this Pokemon has evolved, from Noibat of course, all the gold attacks of battle opponents of this Pokemon become wide attacks. So, not much synergy that you would expect, say, with a Pokemon like Kambalion, but that's not the point. It doesn't necessarily have to be in that kind of deck, but it's just showing that all those gold attacks can now become wide attacks, which can potentially make them not as viable. So pretty cool bonus right there. And then you have Boom Burst, a very interesting attack, saying that an opposing Pokemon adjacent to the battle Pokemon, an opposing Pokemon adjacent to the battle opponent spins, and if it spins a gold attack, then it is knocked out. So that's pretty interesting right there. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure what to think about this, because if the battle opponent spins the gold attack, then it's knocked out. That's really freaking cool. And on top of that, you're also shutting down your direct opponent's Pokemon's gold attacks by making them only white. So you're kind of just... You're destroying people with this. And 100 damage base-wise is not bad at all. Anyway, we have Dragon Pulse, which is an even 50, not too crazy. And then Hurricane is a pretty cool two-star attack, saying that your opponent's flying Pokemon on the field gain weight 3. And also, if you take advantage of the bonus of evolving Noibat into Noivern, then you can further make this a 3-star attack, apparently. And then also get off its ability Supersonic Speed, shutting off gold attacks, turning them to white. So, pretty interesting strats. I look forward to seeing people utilizing Noivern and seeing really how often they run them. I'm interested to see how that works out. And then we have Ninjask right here, which I think has some potential as well. Let's take a look. So it has the ability Bullet Speed. This Pokemon can MP move through Pokemon that have weight. If this Pokemon has evolved, this Pokemon on your bench gains 1 move point. Therefore, you can move it 4 spaces if you're going second, which is pretty sick, or it can just right out the gate, if you're going first, move that 3 move points ahead. So really cool. And then it has its double edge attack, which I don't totally like, since you're knocking out it and your battle opponent. But say if you're in a pinch and you just need to knock out something that's really close to your goal real quickly, then yeah, go ahead and go all in with double edge and hit. Or we have Night Slash, saying that this Pokemon, if this Pokemon is knocked out, you may switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So say you have Ninjask at an ideal position, then just switch it out with someone else on your bench. So whatever would better suit the situation in general. So really cool flexibility there. But again, let me know where you guys would like to place all of your experience. Should it go into one of the 2 dodges? Should it go into Double Edge, Night Slash? I'd love to know your input on this. And also, just with Ninjask being part of the game, I'm really curious about when Shedinja is going to be part of this as well. That's going to be pretty hype, I think. I hope they give him great abilities. Or I believe... Is he not already in the game anyway? Let's move on to Galvantula, which I kind of dig against flying Pokemon, and you'll see in a second why. With its ability Electric Web, the opponent's Pokemon that have passed over this Pokemon by using Fly Away, Fly, or Soar become paralyzed. And there's some more further synergy with this. With Electro Ball, of course, it does 60 base damage, but if the battle opponent is paralyzed, you'll deal 2 times damage. So 120 just because they're paralyzed. And there are other means of getting this off. With its ability Electric Thread, the battle opponent becomes paralyzed, and then the battle opponent gains weight 3. So you're completely slowing down and then wrecking your opponents with Galvantula. I would love if it was a 3-space mover, but that probably would make it a bit broken. And it doesn't really need to move around that much, since it's counting on your opponent's Pokemon moving around you with different flying type abilities. So kind of interesting to see how this guy can work. Also, of course, if you evolve it from Spinarak into Galvantula, then of course you can take advantage of Electric Thread even more, making it a 3-star purple attack. So pretty damn cool in my opinion. Anyway, we have Heatmore right here, which has kind of neat abilities in my opinion. It's kind of fun. So it has the attack Melt and Eat, 50 base damage, and if the battle opponent's type is Steel, this Pokemon takes no damage and the opponent is knocked out. If the battle opponent is Durant, exclude that Durant from the duel, so Durant doesn't even get a chance. And then a Searing Shot, 2-star purple, the battle opponent becomes burned, so weakening your opponent's attacks. That's always great. And then Fire Blast 60. I really wish Fire Blast was stronger. I feel like they're going to probably buff this Pokemon soon, maybe in the next expansion or updates or so. Probably putting Fire Blast maybe to 70 or 80. That would be really nice, just because I feel like it deserves to do better. But maybe they don't let it have a lot of damage, just because Melt and Eat shuts down and destroys Steel-type Pokemon like immediately, especially Durant, of course. And then this really fun little uncommon Pokemon here. This guy, I look forward to seeing people run just fun, silly decks with him. Here we go. We have the ability Team Fight right up here, which says that if there is an adjacent Durant, this Pokemon's white attacks become gold attacks. While this Pokemon is on the field, it can move over other Durant. And the 3 Pokemon limit does not apply to this Pokemon in your deck, so you can have 6 Durant running all over the field, running on top of each other, getting wherever you need them to be. So just pray that you're not facing a heat more or anything crazy like that. And that means that since it's attacks, its white attacks become gold attacks when you have an adjacent Durant next to it. That means you get a 50 damage gold attack, a 30 damage gold attack, and then of course it has a 1-star guillotine. The battle opponent is knocked out. That's nice and all, it's cute, but seeing that it's only 1 star, I don't know if I would want to invest my experience into this. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Like, if you guys have opinions that oppose that, please let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Because guillotine, I mean, it is a purple attack. It does get some sort of priority, so maybe it should get a little more love, especially considering that Ironhead and Rock Slide are size 32 right over here, so that kind of gives you a good chance of spinning either one. But anyway, let's move on to what Rock Slide has, which says that all neighbor Pokemon spin. Those that miss are knocked out. So it's kind of scary if you're like your fellow Durant around you spin a miss as well, because then you're kind of screwed. Especially because you have 3 different misses on this guy. Luckily, they're all really small and they're like size 4, so that means you can eliminate 1 or 1.5 of them maybe by the time you level Durant up all the way. So I would imagine maybe let one Durant get further ahead of the other. That way you're not knocking out your own. I guess you have, like, you know, however many Durant left over, but I mean, it's kind of a heavy sacrifice if you're knocking out a lot of your own Durant. So kind of scary, but I mean, this guy could have some fun viability for all I know. I think it's more of like a gimmicky, kind of funny Pokemon, but I do like the synergy that's potentially there. So that does it for the Pokemon of this new set right now. But let's look into one other thing that Genesect gets, as I talked about earlier. There are new plates available in the shop, and they kind of get crazy. And they're all promoting Genesect. So, well, not all of them, I should say. There is Steel Energy, of course, which says that during this duel, your Steel-type Pokemon cannot become poisoned or noxious, and the damage of one of each of those Pokemon's most highly damaging white attacks that normally deals at least 10 damage is increased by 10. So, right off the bat, there you go. You can promote Durant a little bit more and make it that much more viable with Steel Energy, just as a basic example. Or, of course, you could probably use that with, say, Genesect. Anyway, let's move on, because speaking of Genesect, we have Burn Drive. Burn Drive W. Select one of your Genesect on the field or bench. During this turn, that Pokemon can respin 1 time during battle. So that already is really crazy. And then on top of that, also, if the fainted battle opponent is a Grass type, Ice type, Bug type, or Steel type, the opponent will be excluded from the duel. So if you are running a whole bunch of Burn Drive, and on top of that, say if you're facing a team of Durant, then they're going to get knocked out exclusively. It's ridiculous. This covers 4 different types of Pokemon, and if they faint, they're actually knocked out. It's ridiculous, and the list goes on. Sorry about the alarm there. Anyway, that's my voiceover class that I have to attend later. We have Douse Drive W, again selecting one of your Genesect on the field, respins 1 time for its attack if you want it to, and also it knocks out Fire-type Pokemon, Ground-type, or Rock-type from the duel entirely. Not that it goes back to the Pokemon Center or on the bench, it is excluded from the duel entirely, like Hallucination does with the Latios and Latios. Chill Drive, you respin if you want to, and you're eliminating Grass-type, Ground-type, Flying-type, or Dragon-type from the duel. Again, another one that covers 4. And then Shock Drive, of course, where you're again respinning if you want to, and if you faint the opponent, you exclude Water type or Flying type from the duel. I am really scared of this right now. Like, it makes me wonder how much more Genesect we're going to see in the game now, because before, like, when the game was new, Genesect was cool, and I still like it. Like, don't get me wrong, but now this, I mean, if you just spend your gems, guys, on all these drives, you can do some crazy stuff. And the craziest part is, like, one of the most ridiculous parts is, if you look on the top right here of Steel Energy, or even Burn Drive even, they all only cost 1, which means you can run all of them if you want to. It's crazy. You could run like 1 of each if you wanted in your deck. I mean, I don't know if you would want to. Maybe just cover the ones. I mean, if you just cover the ones that are most popular, like what are popular right now? You see a lot of water Pokemon in the game. You see all types of Pokemon in the game, really. But I'm just saying, like, say if you were to run two drives and the ones that cover 4 types of Pokemon, and you run 2 of them, that means you're covering 8 different types if you have only 2 of them in your deck at a time. So that is just something that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, because I think it's honestly really crazy. I think it's fun. I think it might be a little broken, but I mean, who knows what kind of balance changes we'll see in the future. I'm not sure. For all we know, people won't even take advantage of this, because maybe it won't actually be that great. I'm not sure. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me on this next episode of Duel School. Be on the lookout for the next episode that will be coming, and also be ready for the pack openings that we will be doing pretty darn soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. Later.